Good morning, Mr. Merante. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Good morning, Ru. How are you?
Okay. Hey, first of all, let me say thank you. Thank you for being here. I know that I've been inviting you for a while, but you are a man with multiple business, lots of things to do, and you are working to help and to do the things that you promised to the people of Yonkers, not to be sitting down and giving me interviews. Is that right?
I'm ready to do everything and anything, especially taking care of the people, of the citizens of Yonkers, especially the 6th District people.
The sixth. But you are a resident of Yonkers, and I am sure that the entire Yonkers, not just the 6th district, matters to you, correct?
That's correct. You can't make, sometimes you just can't make a decision for the 6th District, like budgets.
Correct. Now, Mr. Anthony Merante, tell us about your promises that you made prior to you being elected, about your accomplishments, and about your plans for the future.
Well, when I was elected, my main focus is to, number one, you got to have a safe, clean city. That's to maintain that status and improve what way you can, is to improve improve that. Always in the back of my head is quality of life. If you take away any resident's quality of life, you're taking it away from everybody, because again, it's what drives people here. It drives people to Yonkers. So if you have quality of life, you have a safe, clean city, it brings you property value. Okay, my focus is to make sure that every resident in the 6th District and throughout the city is Yonkers is a place of value, and people want to come here. And when they want to come here, the value of your home goes up, and it all comes together. It's one big circle, of success, and that is what my intent was when I got on the council, is to make Yonkers as more successful as possible, taking what has been built since the Spencer, Amacone, and now Spano, mayoralties, and take what they've done and help them and continue the building, and we've done that. I think we continue to attract outside interests vis-a-vis someone adding some new facilities to Ridge Hill. I mean, obviously COVID-19 has put a little bit of a halt on a couple of things, but I think they're going to jump right into place now. But the city continues to attract outsiders. They're coming in, they're spending money. Our sales tax is up, our income tax is up. So, we're building, people are coming. There's not enough Yonkers to make everybody happy at this point. So it's a good thing. So, if you watched anybody that watched the budget hearings know that I was very, optimistic, that the city can basically, I think they could almost flip a light switch on. I mean, the biggest issue that we have now is getting MGM up and running again, because that is a big catalyst for our economy.
We're going to get that, Mr. Merante. We're going to get there.
I know now,
yeah, right now, I want to know more or less about what you have promised, what you have accomplished, and what are your plans for the future? Because you're up for election next year, correct?
I am indeed. Well, again, I'm trying to get things done. Again, keep the quality of life going. Last year, we voted $8 million of resurfacing in the city. I haven't even started to touch my my portion of those funds to repave a lot of roads. The roads in the city are atrocious. We need to fix those. Again, we've accomplished keeping the city funded with the budgets that we've had. When we have a very strong police and fire and DPW. So we've made a lot of accomplishments. The streets are looking good. There's a lot of projects that are going on. We were instrumental in pushing forward with the Senator Shelley Mayer to have Central Avenue paved. These things, these are very critical to people's quality of life, to be able to, don't take for granted when you get on the road that the road it doesn't have any potholes in it. It's something that has to be maintained. Again, I feel that Yonkers is a very safe city. It's safe. There's some reports that say that crime is up, but people can walk down their streets, out of their house, down into Central, and go shopping. And I don't think they have to keep looking over their shoulder, and that's important. So I think we've continued to maintain that. For me, like I said, I've maintained even in this COVID environment. I think that what's going on now is, again, maintaining property values. It's critical. Every homeowner, what do you put your money into your home? You don't put it in there so that it goes down in value. So it's my job and my colleagues to make sure that we keep the city a place where people want to come. And I think that people are still want to come to this city, and they're coming, and it helps us keep our property value up. And that is important for everyone, especially when you start talking about their retirement and things of that nature. So those have been successful. There's a lot of, I don't think you want me to go into my projects that I'm working on in my district, but there's a lot of projects going on. We're about to put a sewer line in one area. There's been a mess up on Sawmill Road that there's been mounds of dirt for the last 5-10 years that have been sitting there at 1100 Sawmill Road. That's finally coming down. That's going to put in a business that's going to relocate from the waterfront coming over here. So we've got a lot of things going on. There's a lot. So we've been successful. We've been very successful. Very successful with a lot of the projects that we're doing, and we continue to do more and more.
Now, Mr. Merante, as you know, this is being live streamed to Facebook, and we have our audience engaged. And once in a while, we have to stop just to address the questions that they are posing. So we have a question here from Carolyn Elizabeth Marie. Does the Councilman Merante apologize for calling out the PTA during the budget hearing? The PTA are parents that volunteer. The elected officials are ones responsible for the financial issues in Yonkers.
Well, I don't have to apologize to the PTA. All I'm saying to them was that way back, okay, when Nick Spano was the senator, okay. First of all, let me say I respect the PTA. I was a PTA father. I was very active in the PTA. But this year, when we were in, with the deficit going on, I didn't see. Okay, put it this way: I didn't see any kind of an outcry, knowing that there was a $20 million deficit in the Board of Education budget. Many years ago, the YFT and the PTA, they went and again, you couldn't physically go out and have the protests that you had because of COVID, but I didn't see. So if there was something out there that I didn't see, then I owe an apology. But I didn't see any virtual protests at Andrea Stewart Cousins' office or at Shelley Mayer's office, who's the education chair. You have the Senate Majority Leader. I don't see where the pressure was being put on those, because, again, our money, okay, the money that the state of Albany, that's up in Albany, is our money. The residents of the city of Yonkers, okay, we generated sales tax and income tax that the state gets a piece of, okay? It's our money. It's sitting up there. We deserve it. They should be on top of Senator Cousins and Senator Mayer, as well as Nader Sayegh and Gary Pretlow and our assembly people. And I didn't see it. If it was there and I didn't see it, then I owe an apology. If it wasn't there, then I don't apologize. Because they should have, in this environment, they could have created a wonderful virtual protest vis-a-vis, put every child, fund our schools type of thing, with the parents and send it out. If it was done, again, I'd like to see it, and then I can apologize. But if not, they need to be on top of, and still right now they should be, because they're the true voices are the PTA. Okay, they're number one. They need to be vocal. Okay, so right now I want them to be vocal with Andrea Stewart Cousins and Shelley Mayer, just like I was as a Republican 15 or so years ago against Nick Spano when the PTA and the YFT protested in front of his office at then Executive Boulevard. So I obviously did not see that. And you know what? Nick delivered. Senator Spano delivered. Senator Mayer and Senator Stewart Cousins, they have to deliver now. I unfortunately raised taxes, the last 2 years, totaling probably over $25 million because the state, according to Mayor Spano, did not fulfill a promise that they were going to give us more aid to municipalities. Okay, so I felt that it was an obligation not to, that the employees of the city of Yonkers should not be let down. So I made my move, and the mayor did give $12 million to the Board of Education. I think over my 3 budgets right now, we've probably given close to almost $20 million more to the Board of Education. So we've done a good share of our job. It's time for Albany to do theirs, but I can't do it. But the PTA, they can absolutely do it. Those kids have great voices. Let them shine and go and prove their case to the state and get our money.
Okay, well, John Salami, as you can see, Mr. Merante is a Republican. He is here on Yonkers Voice. We invited him as we invite everybody else, and he's here to talk to the people, to talk to the base, talk to Republicans that are on Yonkers Voice. We are not inclined to any particular party. Our interest is only into giving information to you guys so you can formulate whatever opinion you see fit. So this is for you, Johnny. Now, Mr. Merante, you were the only person who voted no for the increase of taxes, property taxes in Yonkers. As you said yourself, you are the lone council member. Lots of people appreciate you for that, for you to stick into your guns, because we all know that we have a very large number of seniors, people on fixed income that cannot afford this. But what other options did we have? I'm reading your press release. I could read it and say what you said, but I want you to say it so people can hear it from you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'll be glad to elaborate on it. I was very ambitious in my position. My position was that we have fund balance, which basically turns out to be what the government calls their savings account. Okay, we had expenses that could have been reduced on the budget. What we're talking here was roughly $6 million. $6 million on a $1.24 billion budget. We couldn't find $6 million in order to give the taxpayers hope. Now remember, my budget would have been okay. Understand that the taxes are going to go up 1%. And I can tell you right now, take it to the bank. Next year, taxes are going up at least 1% next year. That being because over the course of the years, people have been challenging their real estate taxes called certiorari's, and that has created it's like a toothpaste tube. You squeeze it on the bottom and it goes to other people, and that's what's happened. So the courts have forced us to settle at least $30 million. We did 15 last year. We're going to settle 15 million this year. So that adjustment caused the 1% increase. So we couldn't avoid that. But the 1.58 levy that was put on could have been avoided simply by taking a little from fund balance, reducing a couple of expenses, squeezing a little bit more. We have a thing called a contingency fund inside the account. Last year we put $5 million. Last year being the fiscal year which we're ending right now, the next couple of days by June 30th, we had a $5 million contingency. I unfortunately didn't ask the question during the budget hearings, but I did ask it the day of the vote, and I was confirmed that we did not use any of the contingency money from last year. So that means that $5 million is going to be squeezed right down into our fund balance, which means, you know what? If we could have taken 1 or 2 million of that and put that into our budget this year, again, every 1% is roughly now it's almost $4 million. So there you go. You could. So I know that there was some ambitiousness. It would have been going tight, but I'm very confident that Yonkers will come back. And again, we could have done this with a 0%. And by the way, it would have given the $2 million that was given to the Board of Education. Additional, the mayor already included. We keep forgetting the mayor in his original proposal had $2 million going to the Board of Education. My colleagues proposed adding another 2 million, and I didn't fight that issue. I said absolutely, we have to do our part to the Board of Education. So my budget included no layoffs, no tax increases, and add $2 million, an additional $2 million. So that's $4 million more in this year's budget going to the Board of Education. So that's my position, that we could have done it. We could have done it all by just taking away from a few other expenses, because it's there. It would have depleted savings a little bit, but I think people could have used a little hope in this COVID environment.
How was the support from the other Republican in the council body, Mr. Bree?
Well, we talked about it. He took the stand that he wanted to increase the tax. So he's a vote. He felt he would rather do the increase. He would rather not go into savings at this particular point in time. So if that's his position, that's his position. I can't. I couldn't influence anymore.
I understand, but chances are Republicans talk among themselves, just like Democrats talk about themselves. And before they actually vote, they have an idea of who is going to vote in which directions. So I would believe that you and Mr. Bree also spoke about this, and you knew his position before he actually casted his vote. So you as a Republican, talking to him, what was the justification, or how did you try to convince him, look, you are going in the wrong direction. There is people in Yonkers that cannot afford this, and we should stick by our guns and say no tax increases, because that's what you guys promised, but it didn't happen.
Well, you say we didn't. I can't listen. My colleague, I have to let the Democrats vote it in, but he chose to do his way, and we're fine. I have no problem. I mean, Councilman Breen and I have a great relationship, and
no.
And
I agree.
That's what. Listen, it's there's seven votes. There's 7 votes, and even though Republicans usually vote together on certain things, he felt strongly about not tapping into savings. Which again, it's not an incorrect position that he took, but I felt that at this particular time, and I've been correct. The city is again, we're doing well. I mean, we're now a little bit of a pause, but I think that we're going to jump right into it, especially when the restaurants and Empire City gets going again. But we're really going to start cranking it up.
Normally Republicans vote together, normally Democrats vote together, but we have seen instances in Yonkers where Democrats have not voted together and Republicans have not voted together. Actually, Republicans are kind of becoming extinct in Yonkers. Look, we had a councilman that jumped board, went to the Democrat side. I remember you writing a letter in regards to a Republican that also was going into the Democratic line. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Why were you so upset about that letter?
So you're obviously referring to county legislator Tubiolo.
Correct.
Okay. So Tubiolos are a great family. Okay. I know them for many years. The message, so your listeners, viewers understand, they know the whole story. David Tubiolo is the son of Yonkers Republican chairperson, Justin Tubiolo. Great family man. You can't find a better person, human being around the world probably than Justin Tubiolo. The only problem was that you can't be. David Tubiolo signified he was an extension of the Republican Party, okay? And when he switched parties, okay, he basically said that his father, who was a very good father, an excellent father, I mean, how is his decision making going to be taken at that point? And that switch that switch, what's the word I want to use? He was tainted. Justin can, the chairman. How is he going to make a decision? How can Justin Tubiolo go to a fundraiser for David Tubiolo with my potential, the opponent? Is he going to come to, so David was a big difference than when John Rubo switched. Okay. John Rubo made his switch. He was like, he's any political person. Okay. That's, again, it's a great thing about democracy. You know what? You want to switch, you want to change your ideology, that's fine. But David, too, being upset with David, and again, I'm not, is that David per se, he's another good guy, good person, but he's the father of the Republican chairman. And again, as you said, Rue, the Republican Party is limited in Yonkers at this particular point in time, and that's why I called for Justin to resign. Which, we got caught up with COVID, we got caught up with all this stuff with the budget. I'm still, I want to move forward with the Yonkers Republican Party because there are a lot of Republicans. I think this is a great opportunity for Republicans right now. Considering all the moves that all the moves that the Democrats are making, especially up in Albany, this bail reform and some of the stuff that they're doing to real estate, it's really going to hurt a lot of people. And there's a great opportunity here for Republicans to take the conservative Democrats along, because that we should be able to recruit a lot more people into the Republican Party right now, and we can't do it when certain people do jump ship, especially the son of the chairman. It puts me in a very difficult position.
Mr. Merante, have you considered jumping ship yourself?
Not in the least bit.
You sure? Because we can try to convince you. We have we can work on that and show you that perhaps, Yonkers, it's a democratic city. We want democratic politicians. Yes, we do have Republicans, and many are happy with you, are happy with the stance that you took. But look, proof is in the pudding, and you as a lone Republican in the council, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to not represent, that's a bad word, for you to fulfill the promises that you think it's best for the Republican folks in Yonkers, because you are one vote, perhaps 2 votes with Mr. Bree. So what do you say about that?
You want to see me bleed? It's pure red. I need to say more. I'm up, Rue. I'm up for the challenge. Listen, you know what? All the Democrats back, they stood around and they took the licks and did what they had to do. Again, if Yonkers, you know what? There's an election coming up in 21. Okay, I've made moves that benefit every single person in the city of Yonkers, not just Republicans. Okay, I may have been elected on the Republican line. Okay, but I'm sympathetic to other situations, and I think the people realize that I do care about a lot of issues.
Regardless of the political inclination, correct?
Well, that's just for an election day situation. Okay. Again, I took a stance on, unfortunately for me, or I had no choice. I felt no choice that last year when the tax increase was done, I wasn't going to let some of the employees lose their jobs because the state didn't fulfill a promise, according to what Mayor Spano told me, that they promised they would give him money. And you know what? I think that having a full staff, the 2,000 employees in that city of Yonkers, is critical to what my goal is, and that is maintain property value. Okay, property value, safety. We can't, you give up one, something's going to give. You take a table. Table's got 4 legs for a reason. You take away a piece of one of those legs, you can't have a table. You don't really have a balanced table anymore. So I'm taking the position. My view is to again, we are making money. We don't need to raise taxes. We're drawing the sales tax. We're drawing the income tax. We bring people into this town. They have a job. They're paying income tax. So we continue to do what we need to do. And I will try to, I will send my message out there to tell people that there is still room for Republicans in the city of Yonkers. And I'm up for the battle. I'm
That's
up.
it.
Let's go. Round one.
No,
Round
Mr.
one. Let's
Merante,
go.
let's rewind a little bit and go back to the budget. On this budget, we know that it has been spoken already that the Yonkers public schools will lose about 180 jobs. I also hear that the layoffs might expand, and hopefully it will not reach our first responders, because then we are all at risk. If it affects the fire department, if it affects the police department, DPW, then we are all at risk. But I also hear that the Yonkers public schools might be losing positions because of the hard stand from the teachers' unions. They don't want to take, not a cut, how would you say it? A freeze. They will get the money, not right now, later on, but they would not lose a single job. And they took a hard stand. We want the money or we lose the job. So they are willing to lose the jobs for the sake of a few dollars that they might freeze. How you feel about that? So who do we blame for the loss of those jobs? The union or the government?
You can't listen, I don't blame the union. As a matter of fact, I owe the president a response. She sent me an email because criticizing me, just as I was criticized by your first, your viewer there, but again, they went up to Albany and then they came back to me and says, we've been lobbying. Well, obviously you haven't lobbied successfully. And listen, again, the state, keep in mind that in our budget is $10 million from the CARES Act. So the state took money from the CARES Act and basically replaced it and took money out of the budget. So again, is income been, have we been hurt because we haven't been having sales? It's basically sales tax. A lot of people have maintained their jobs through this COVID thing. A lot of people have. The 30 million folks, 40 million, those jobs. Don't cry for all those folks, because they're all collecting unemployment and they were getting $600 a week extra, courtesy of President Donald Trump. Okay. So, and the CARES Act put in $10 million to the budget. So again, go right back to where I started from, Ro. It's Albany. We have been sending on average $50 million a year more up to Albany than coming down. So Albany, if they were keeping a little bank account for Yonkers up there, has quite a nest egg sitting up there for the city of Yonkers. So as far as the union taking their position, again, that's their thought. Can they, do they want to cut it? I think that they should keep lobbying, and the money should come from Albany. On the other side of the fence is, I also think that there's probably going to be another some additional federal funds coming through. Again, I think Donald Trump will come through. I think only because Nancy Pelosi put in all her Democratic goodies in that last bill she proposed, which was all nonsense, with $3 trillion. Okay, there was $500 million for state and local governments in there. Well, take out that fat and put it in, and maybe you get the Senate to sign off and the president to sign off, and the money comes down to us. Okay, and then we can fill those things. Now, again, as far as the teachers, there was a contract. Okay, this is, again, the teachers signed, the superintendent signed the contract. Again, some of these contracts, I don't know how they can sign them not knowing that we don't have money. Okay, it's just that is a very hard thing, especially as you know, I'm a CPA, and I have to help people with their finances. You don't sign off on anything you can't afford. I would love to have a nice a Chevy Tahoe is my favorite car. It costs $700-800 a month. I settled with the Ford Explorer, which I pay for myself. Okay, cost me a little over $400 a month. So you know what? That $300, because you know what? I can't afford it. You got to. So same thing with contracts. We can't keep signing contracts we can't afford. Dr. Casado was put into a position to sign a contract that he couldn't afford a couple of years ago. We got to make sure that doesn't happen again. And as far as the teachers are concerned, listen. They remember, the teachers earn their money every day. Don't get me wrong. My situation, and one of the things I brought up on the budget hearings was, we have too many teachers in the top tier. you have almost 1,000 teachers out of 1,600 or so, which is almost like 60% of the teachers making an average of $140,000 a year. Do they deserve it? Absolutely. It's a hard job.
Well,
but we
Mr.
can't.
Merante,
Without a
I
farm
don't-
system, we can't succeed without a farm system.
No, I don't think anyone implies that the teachers don't deserve what they make. They are the foundations for the success of our kids. We all know that. But sometimes, even on your own personal life, my personal life, if we're going through some hard financial times, we have to make restrictions on certain things. As you just said, you own that truck, it's $800 a month, but you won't have it because you cannot afford it at the moment, even though I know you can. But that's life. That's the way it is. So right now we are in a financial hardship. So maybe the things that we are going through today, we didn't foresee them about a few years ago when we signed the contracts. So teachers, on an average, make over $100,000 a year. Am I wrong or no?
No, that's correct.
That's correct. So I know they have, enough. They make enough to sustain them. Do they want more money? Yes, so do I. But there is times that you can have it, and there is times that you cannot have it. So are they going to put the risk of 180 personnel from the Board of Education on the street on layoff because they don't want to freeze the salary for another year? Is that justifiable? I know the union's point, but now we are from the outside. Now we are the people of Yonkers looking on the inside. Is that justifiable?
Again, Ru, again, you would think, okay, logically, that if they deferred their increase for a year and saved all those jobs and basically put us back to where we have to be, it seems like it's a slam dunk. But I can't, I'm not going to even try to put myself in with the teachers unions have their beliefs, and this is Dr. Casada addressed it and then the term they use, we're not there yet. And something, I don't blame them at all for taking a hard stance right now. You know what? Their salaries are paid through they're getting their summer pay. That's all included here at this point. I haven't been told otherwise that their pay is their summer pay is going to be held up. So we got 2 months to wait for Donald Trump to come in on the white horse and drop some money into the state coffers and probably reduce that amount. So why should they make the commitment? So again, they're very it's a very smart organization, the teachers union. So
I believe you.
And something, I give them a lot of credit. They're sticking by their guns, and you know what? If they choose that's what they want to do, then that's their reputation. It seems simple enough. Let's forego it. But
like you said, that's what this country is all about, right? You believe that's your belief. Stick by it, and then pay for the consequences. You might win, you might lose. But are you saying that they might be banking on President Donald Trump dropping some money? Maybe that's what they think it's going to happen. So let's stick to our guns.
Well, there's a lot of issues that could happen, Ru. We here, in the city, had to go and borrow $4.6 million for books once again, which was a ridiculous thing to do. Okay, the state, there might be some creativity. It might not just be Donald Trump. It might be that the state, once Governor Cuomo, we all get out of, last phase and we're open for business at 100%, including the restaurants, which again is critical. Our revenue, the state is also doing well. The state is also doing well. And although a lot of people flee the tax risk, but maybe there's money out there that the state, that the teachers union knows that maybe the Governor Cuomo is, and the state legislature are playing some, political money games. So, again, I'm not, listen, the teachers union said they weren't there yet, so that's the way the words that Dr. Casada used. They said that they weren't there yet. Well, I think the teachers union will know when they're there, when they have to make the move, if they have to do it. And will they do it? I'm not going to speak for them. I tell you, over the course of, I've been living in Yonkers 33 years. and I only seen, you know, a few times where, you know, the unions, you know, they conceded on the city side to help their people, especially on the 456 level. They always seem to come to bat for their guys. They say, what's it going to cost us to keep our jobs? And I remember seeing that a few times over the years. So it's up to them. I'm not going to put words in their mouth. They, you know, so
it's on them to negotiate their own contract.
Except we got 2 months, except for whatever Dr. Casada needs for them to do for the summer school programs. You know, but the necessity, everything's down to necessity now. So it's up to them. I don't want to. Again, they're working. You know, I hope they lobby hard, and I hope they get the kids and the parents involved with this, because the kids and the parents, they pull a lot of weight. They pull a lot of weight, and that's why I would like to see a lot more of it happening. So I don't want the parents of them to be upset with me, because I'm with them. I just want to see them get out there and get into the you know, I want them to get into the you know, I don't want to say into the face of, you know, I want to put themselves in front of the state delegation and let them know.
I have a comment here from a viewer, Debbie Semp. She says this, and I want to know what you think about it. Stop giving tax breaks to all big builders in the city, and you would have added the income that you really need. What's your stance?
No, well, again, it's a case by case situation. You know, the IDA, you know, they don't come to me and ask me to give certain forgivenesses, but I do know that some of the projects that I'm dealing with, that they're called pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, and I am not adverse to giving away certain things. So let me explain about the giveaways though. So let's understand that are we truly giving away something? Okay, and this is what happened down in the city with Amazon. Okay, you know, people were saying that, you know, we're giving away. The answer is we technically aren't giving away. Okay, giving breaks. So, for instance, there's a project going on the west side. Believe it or not, my district does run, or believe it or not, over to North Broadway. Okay, there's a building there called Alden Manor. Okay, these folks, okay, that took over that project. Okay, that parcel of land was given the city of Yonkers a big goose egg. Okay. These folks came in, they're developing, they're trying to make it a source for weddings and stuff of that nature. And they signed a pilot agreement. Okay. So the pilot agreement had to come up with two numbers, basically. What would be the real estate taxes on a property that was paying zero? Okay. Which they think, round numbers, let's say the number was $400,000. Well, I believe that they signed a pilot agreement for a few years for, say, $200,000 a year. So some people will turn around and say, you lost $200,000 a year? The difference between the 4 and the 2, right? I said, well, no, I gained $200,000 a year because it was 0 and now I'm getting 2. And I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know the exact numbers offhand. But so when people say we're giving away things, we're not really giving it away, because on this flip side of it, we have people working there, and like the construction, when they build the buildings come into play, you know, we may give them a mortgage tax, you know, well, you know what? That's great. So it wasn't something that was taken away. It's really never something that was taken away. Okay, it's something that we didn't have, but we're getting another piece of. So I use my analogy of that property on North Broadway. It was a great, because it was 0 getting something. So you got to look at it from the right angle. Don't let people mislead you that we're giving away something. If we create 200 jobs of construction and permanent jobs afterwards, of 50 or 75 permanent jobs after the fact, it was well worth the investment in the future. To get it started. So, and it really did not cost us anything. But if anyone wants that, you know, they can reach me at Anthony.Merante at, YonkersNY.gov. Send me a question. I'll be glad to elaborate and sit down and explain that in further detail.
So this giving away that people sometimes talk about it, actually it's not, it's an investment
That's
that
correct.
we're doing in the city.
That's
Now,
correct.
Mr. Merante, I have some folks here saying that they want to talk to you in person. How can I reach him? You are an accessible man, correct?
Except to you, Ro. Except to you, Ro. Except to
No,
you.
no. Like I said in the beginning, I understand that you're very busy. I'm sure that, it didn't come true, not because you were avoiding me. Sometimes,
Absolutely.
things of life, it just doesn't happen. And then all of a sudden we click. So which is perfectly okay. But if they want to reach you, should they reach you on the email that you just gave, or should they call your office? What's the preferred method?
They should email me, and if there's something in particular they want me to discuss with them, and leave me their contact information. And listen. I love to meet I love talking to people. That's this virtual stuff. That's why Ru, I would love to be talking with you face to face, because I love sitting down, being with people face to face. I mean, this virtual stuff is acceptable, but not the choice of my choice. That's for sure.
I agree with you. I don't like it. But COVID-19 created a new normal, and now this is the new normal. We have
temporary normal.
I think things change forever, but hopefully it won't be that bad. But now, what about the impact on our first responders? Do you think it will affect the police and fire department? It's everything on the table, or certain things are under the table, meaning we will not touch this?
Well, you're making the assumption that the governor is going to come.
I'm not making any assumption. I'm just asking. What do you think?
But again, but that comment is saying that we're going to get funds cut. We're going to have our funds are going to get cut. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm asking, what do you think? There is a possibility of 180 employees of Yonkers Board of Education to be laid off. Possibility.
Well, that's not our first responders. That's not
no.
That's our first teachers.
Let me rephrase. I'm saying I know that might happen. It might not happen, but there is a possibility. Now I'm asking you, do you think that our first responders will also be affected, or are the first responders out of this equation? Whatever happens, it will not touch them. That's what I'm asking. What do you think?
At this point where we're standing today, it will not affect the first responders, because, and by the way, I would also ask that question of, again, round numbers, the 180 positions at the Board of Education. I think there's probably 60 or 80 of them are vacant positions. So it's really going to be, I think, somewhere more in the area of 80, 90 positions that are actually going to be eliminated, because there's quite a few vacancies there. So let's make sure we understand that part.
Very good. Very good point. Yes.
Okay. So the board, as will it, look again. Does it mean we're going to have more kids in the classroom? But it should not. So the answer to your question is, it's not going to affect first responders. It's going to affect the Board of Education and the education system. And, we're going to have to see how Dr. Quesada can adjust, to adjust to the learning. So I am a very optimistic person, Ru. I think that things are going to happen. Summertime is a good time. The COVID's going to die with the heat, hopefully. And
I heard that before.
Well, you know what? That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that's right. And again, you can't keep living in the darkness. You come on out. It's sunshine. Let me open up the blinds behind me so you can see the light on Central Avenue behind my office here. And it's bright, shiny right now. It's not raining right now, but the point here is that we've got a lot of work to do. And I trust that Dr. Quesada, and I'm hoping that the bigger issue for me is that Albany, we had to borrow $140 million because Albany is not giving us our aim. There's an aid to municipality payment that was due. So it's due sometime here in June. So the finance commissioner had us sign off on authorizing a $140 million bond, so that he can borrow some money because they're going to hold back on our aim. So I'm hoping that it's a short-term situation, and the funding will come from Washington, and everything will be fine. So I'm gonna stand on that optimistic point that and then we will get back on our feet. We'll need a couple of months to get restarted, and I think that I feel Yonkers has all the tools needed to be successful in the future. I mean, we've got great places to hang out and live, work, and play. We have it all here in Yonkers.
Well, Mr. Merante, this is all the time we had. So, but I have to ask you one last, not question. I want you to make one last point about the protests and the current situation affecting our country. But we're going to pinpoint to Yonkers. We've been having a few protests in Yonkers since Sunday. In my opinion, the teens, the youth, they did an awesome job articulating, their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Police commissioner did a wonderful job listening to the issues articulated by the youth.
Mm-hmm.
There was no riots, except 2 or 3 riots, but that have nothing to do with the kids from Yonkers. Those were
Correct.
pockets of people that came from the outside of Yonkers to create trouble in Yonkers. And lots of people are thinking or connecting both, those acts of violence connecting with our kids of Yonkers that did a peaceful protest.
Yep.
Last words on that, sir, before we conclude.
Well, congratulations to the kids for putting together a very successful protest. I mean, obviously, what happened to Mr. Floyd was unconscionable. Anybody that saw that, it was a terrible event. The kids made their point peacefully. Credit to Commissioner John Muller and the mayor for working with the groups that wanted to protest to keep it under control. Those incidents that happened at Cross County and on McLean Avenue were unfortunate, but like I said, some people were taking advantage of the situation. They were probably outsiders, but it's a very important issue. Keep it in the forefront of Yonkers, and let's hope that nothing like that happens in the city of Yonkers. And thank God for our kids we have all our kids are great kids. Okay, and I stand behind the kids for what they did. They did a great job, and it was up to them. They did it, and to them, thumbs up, kids. Keep up the good work.
Thumbs up. Kudos for the kids. They articulated everything.
Our kids are great.
Yeah, they did it the right way. We are proud of them, and now hopefully things will change. Things will change. Hopefully, we will find a system to hold those people accountable for what they do, regardless if you are a kid from the street or a police officer. If you commit a crime, you should be held equally responsible for your actions. Thank you, sir, and until next time, and hopefully we will talk again soon. Thank you.
I look forward to it, bro.
Take care. Until next time.
You too. Take care.